Can you hear Ronnie? No?
No.
Ronnie, did you
Hello,
start?
everyone. Welcome. Welcome. It's 2 o'clock. We had an appointment at 2 o'clock. We are going to begin very shortly. I want to put the materials into the chat so everybody has it. Are there any questions before we get started? Okay, I'll take that as no. Very good.
Hey, Ronnie,
So,
quick one.
yes.
Should we have the RPR up and follow along, or just watch you?
That would be most helpful, Lucy. Where are you located, Lucy?
Birmingham, Alabama.
Birmingham, Alabama. Okay. Which MLS do you use?
It's the Greater Alabama MLS. It's the Paragon.
Oh, it's the Paragon. Okay, so it's not the one that I will be putting on the screen. And yes, you can use RPR to follow along, which is very good. So those of you that know better, put where you're from next to your name. This is a great referral opportunity. It's not so much referrals to me, but it's referrals to everybody else going outside here. So Nancy in Southeast Michigan, as soon as I get somebody, I'm sending them to you. Lisa Ramsbottom in Mass, you know I'm sending to you. What's up, Lisa? Millie, I know where you're at, but you got to let everybody else know where you're at in beautiful South Miami there. Okay, and let me see, Charlene, you're in Clinton. Is that, where is Clinton?
It's in New Jersey. I didn't put that.
Oh, it is Clinton, New Jersey. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
I never heard of Clinton, New Jersey. I heard of Clifton.
Yeah, we're on the other side.
Okay, very good. So I see the Pipsters are starting to pile in. That's what I was waiting for, because I figured they'd be showing up. You posted enough, they will. So I want to welcome everybody here. And let me put Tom's River, New Jersey, the Jersey Shore. Yes, yes, yes. I used to have a home on beautiful Long Beach Island in the town of probably the best town ever, called Loveladies, New Jersey. Loveladies, New Jersey. Okay, got Montclair, got a lot of New Jersey people. Great. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So let's get started. Got a lot to cover here. I'm going to put into the chat the material, the handout, so you guys have it, and then we can get started. All right, so okay. Okay, so I just put it in the chat. Everybody should have it. Please click on it. If you don't get it, please let me know so we can make sure that you have the materials or just follow along. Okay, so today's class is what? A quick equity analysis. Equity analysis. How to get a CMA in 10 steps. 10 steps, that's what it's called. So here's the thing, guys. Some of you mentioned, Lucy, thank you, RPR, Realtors Property Resource. That's probably the greatest tool in our repertoire of tools that we have as realtors, provided by the National Association of Realtors. And unfortunately, most agents don't use it. It's a great tool to do what? So we call it the equity analysis. Those of us that are on the pivot shift call every day, we call it the equity analysis because it's a tool to do something very important. And that thing is to get what's called, does anybody know what we call that?
The appointment?
Well, that's one thing, but the providing an equity analysis is what we call getting a MOFR. MOFR comes out of the shift book, page 60. MOFR stands for Make Offer for Immediate Response. Make offer for immediate response. You want your buyer, seller, or investor to raise their hand and say, yeah, I want you to sit down and tell me how much equity I have in this home, or what possibly am I looking at when purchasing a home? What do you think the values are? And with the market ever changing right now, I was out Saturday I went and showed 7 homes. 6 of them were open houses. And the price ranges were phenomenal. And everybody that I kind of spoke to or started listing that were in there were saying the same thing. These houses are not worth the price that they were listed for. So the buyers are getting picky out there. The buyers are getting very picky. So as real estate agents, specifically listing agents, we have to know where we need to price the property right to get things done. Okay, so before I get right into the material, I have a question. Can someone tell me what is a CMA?
Comparative Market Analysis.
Very good. What is a CMA not? Very good. Say that loud and proud.
Appraisal. An appraisal.
Appraisal. Why is it not an appraisal?
Because we are not licensed for appraisal.
That's one good reason. What else? Because we're not appraisers. What else?
It's not the true it's not the true. It's not gonna get the true amount, right?
I'm going to beg to differ with you, and I'll show you why when we get into material. And why else? Why is a CMA not an appraisal?
Because appraisal is different or third party.
Nope.
We,
You're
no,
going to see today that an appraisal is just exactly like a CMA.
we do it for free.
Hello, you don't pay for it. Ding, 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 holla. Very good, very good.
Yeah. I'm still in my pajamas from the morning, so I cannot show
You're
my.
still in your pajamas. Well, thank you. Appreciate that for sharing. Now, a CMA is not an appraisal because you don't pay for it. And every realtor on the planet, and some realtors are not realtors on the planet, offers a free CMA. So last year, those of you that have been on the pivot shift, you might remember we called it the golden letter. That's how we went after listings. This year, we went after listings by doing an equity analysis. Yeah, it's a CMA. It's the same thing. Yet most people, including agents in this office, didn't know what an equity analysis was. So that's a leg up for people that don't understand what we're trying to achieve, because an equity analysis can do 2 things for you. It can show the potential listing, how much equity they actually have for insurance purposes and for if they want to sell the home. So that's very good reason to do that. All right, so without further ado, I've already given you guys the handout. We're going to go right through this very quickly.
Ronnie, we don't see the handout online.
Okie dokie. I put it in the chat. I'll put it in the chat again. I know
It
sometimes.
came up empty for me,
It came up what?
empty.
When you clicked on it?
That's what happened to me, yeah.
I had it as a PDF to download.
Yes, you got to double click on it.
Right, and then download it.
This file does not exist.
So I'm going to click to open it. Yep, it opened up for me. So Lisa, see if it's in the chat. I just put it in the chat there at 2:09. So it should be there to download. If not, please email me, reach out to me, and I'll get the copy to you. Okay? All right, so let's share the screen. All right, now. This is what my MLS, my multiple listing service looks like. This is what my multiple service looks like. So the way we get started for doing a equity analysis / CMA, you notice on the handout will tell us to first log in. So you log into your specific one. Now, Lucy brought up a great point. Lucy's in Birmingham, Alabama. She's not going to have this listing in her MLS. So she's going to use the nationwide nationwide RPR. So that one is NAR, National Association of Realtors, realtorspropertyresource.com. It's going to look something like this. Well, it's not going to look like that. Got to sign in because I ain't been here in a while. Yeah, you're going to go through the MLS, Tina. Okay, that's the nationwide one. When I give you the address, you're going to put it in here where it says location, and then you'll pick up and follow us along as I'm doing it in my multiple listing service. So in my multiple listing service, because it's the teaching class for our people here, the bar up here, which is called the short bar.
Search.
It's called the search bar, but it's called the speed bar, And in the speed bar, less is more, less is more. So we don't have to put in the total address since we're going through my MLS. That address is going to be 56, just make sure, before I give the wrong address. Those of you that do have the ability, let's see, where'd you go? 5646 Spring, 5646 Spring, Spring. Okay, click the enter or the hourglass. Should bring up a list of things. Now, the first one there that has a PND next to it, it's pending. Yep, it's a pending listing. Don't worry about that. We still can use it to actually do what we want. Because a great thing was I used this last month in last month's class and saw how the market is already changing month to month. So that's a great thing to learn and look at. All right, so it says there to enter the address. That was step 2. Step 3, for us here, once we have the MLS number open, okay, you're going to see a bunch of icons along the top. We are going to use the one that says RPR Property Report. For those that are using the standalone, please type in the address, 5646 Spring. It should stop popping up, and you should be able to find Run Avenue, Orlando, Florida, 32819. This one is basically a stone's throw from my market center. That's where we're located, 32819.
So Ronnie, I got a quick question. When I pull up RPR, I get my local RPR.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
But it won't pull up that address.
So you went through your MLS, correct?
Yes. Well, I tried to go separately by just going to narpr.com.
PR.com?
Yes.
And it defaulted to your,
My local MLS.
I hear you. Okay. Still not a problem. Reason being is, if you look where it says, so you look something like this is what you're telling me, correct? If you click on the home, I'm in my MLS.
Uh-huh.
Now click in the location and put in 5646 Spring Run Avenue. It should let you do it in your MLS, the way yours is coming up. Okay?
We'll see. It's not coming up.
Yeah, Ronnie, I have the same MLS, the same it looks, but when I put the address, I cannot get this report. I have to go to RPR, I believe, or PRR. I forgot.
NARPR.com. You want to go through the nationwide.
Yeah, so I have to go. We have all the service, what the multiple listing service offer and the bottom of the MLS. And I go there, I type the address, but I cannot get it like you.
Okay, that's fine. Because you're not in my area, and that's why. It's not going to
Yes.
do that. Okay? So you have to use the national one. And guys, this brings up a very good point. The point is this. What if this was never in your MLS? I bought my house in 2005, new construction. I can't go through my MLS and look at it because it's never been on the MLS. So I have to go through the nationwide one to bring it up. Okay? So if it's never been in the MLS or it's out of state, you have to go through the nationwide to get the information that you want. All right, so when you do get to—
Can you give the address again? 5646 Spring.
Spring Run Ave,
Spring what?
Run Avenue. And the zip code is 32819.
I got it. Thank you so much. I don't know how I got it.
Wow, look at that. All right. Not going to do what my wife says. Stop tapping yourself on the back. Anyway, all right. So now we're there. And as we scroll down, we're going to see the property summary. This property summary is a very, very good telltale. Let me tell you something, guys. I know pivot shifters that just use this property summary as the tease. The tease being, if it wasn't listed, they're just going to use what's called the RVM. The RVM, that's an automated model that comes from Realtors Property Resource, okay? Realtors Property Resource tells us that the RVM is an estimated value that are generated by an automated valuation model that uses on-market and off-market MLS listing data, plus publicly recorded sold data to provide an estimated value. And RVM is our most accurate estimated value, okay? In addition, there's RVMs and AVMs. AVMs is what? Automated valuation model. Most of the models out there are automated, meaning throw it into a computer, let it spit out what it thinks it is. And then, of course, there's the almighty, begins with a Z. The Zestimate, that's all over the place, okay? So those are the three that we have. The RVM will give us the most accurate. That's why only realtors can use this beautiful tool. You must be licensed by the National Association of Realtors to use this. And I have proven more times than I can count. You see this number here, 551, 330, with a 5-star confidence rating. You probably can take it to the bank. That's what it's going to sell for. Or close enough. When it's 5 stars, it will tell you the RVM or AVM confidence score is what is expected to be. With 5 stars, it's within 10% high or low of the selling price. With 4 stars, it's 15. 3 stars, 20. Why do I know that so easily? Because they made it so easy that you don't really, I thought there would be huge jumps until I explored it and found out. It's only 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. So what does that mean? Well, I would teach you like this. If you found a property and it was only 3 stars, you got to do your homework. If it was 4 stars, you're pretty safe. 5 stars, definitely safe. So that's what you got to know, how to use this beautiful tool. Okay? You can refine the value. What are we talking about, Ron? You can refine the value, change the RVM estimate for this property. And of course, where it says view details, if we open that up, it tells you what properties were used to come up with this RVM. Are we going to use them? Maybe, maybe not, okay? The idea, and you see, they use more than the normal 3 sold and 3 active or pending, which is what an appraisal is. Now, can appraisers use more than 3? Yes. I have appraisals where they used 4. I have appraisals pre-pandemic where they went back a year for values and then weighted a difference between the subject property and the year-old property, okay? Just think, it's just like what? It doesn't have to be apples for apples. What do I mean? It's a 4-bedroom, 3-bath. The comparable is a 3-bedroom, 3-bath. What do? Make up the difference. You saw the cheat sheet of what it should be, okay? To even it out, to make everything the same. Do they use comparables that don't have pools and the subject has a pool? Yeah, and then they weigh it with a difference, okay? But our job here today is to get the figure as fast as possible. Okay, yes, this is a 2-hour class. You should be able to do this in 15 minutes, start to finish. Okay? All right, so let's get back into the software. All right, so we're right there. And as I look at the handout, I'm going to go step by step, same basic way, right? The next step is to do what? Look at that. They even tell you, create a CMA. Create a CMA. Oh, my goodness. You mean it's that easy, Ron? Yeah. So we click on create a CMA. All right. Now, major thing to think about, or please commit to memory or write down. The living square footage, which is 2165. Lot size, I'm not too concerned about, although keep it in mind, 4-bedroom, 3-bath, built in 1985. Okay? Now, for those that said before we're not appraisers, I'm going to give you a little bit of history of RPR. I've been following RPR since 2014 when it first came out. Okay? The old user interface, the software, it had under select analysis type, comparative analysis, build an estimate based on comps. That's the default because that's basically what realtors do. Take an estimate of the comparables that they use, okay? The second line says sales comparison analysis, a more detailed evaluation. Yeah, if you want to spend 3 hours doing it, you can, and that's okay. I'm not teaching that. There are webinars with RPR that you can use to actually do that. What I want to point out, though, is in 2014, it didn't say what's the difference. What it said next to comparative analysis was nothing. What it said next to sales comparison analysis, a more detailed evaluation used by appraisers. What? You mean the appraisers use RPR? That's when I learned, okay, we're just like them. They're licensed realtors, most of the appraisers. They're using the same software we're using. They're just using it more detailed, plus whatever software they have to put it together. So you're getting the same exact thing as an appraiser would. All right. All right. So next thing, as we look at the steps, it says to do, I think it says what? Step 1. Confirm the facts. That's what Claudia said. So we're going to confirm the facts. Let's go and confirm the facts. So it says confirm home facts for 5646 Fred. We have 4 bedrooms, 3 baths, 2 full baths, 1 half-bath. That's from the public record. The listing data says 433. Okay. The key to this puzzle, number 1, is the fact that the living square footage is exactly the same. If that's off, or no, let me say this way. The living square footage is the only thing that public records cares about. Does anybody know why?
Because that's how we value the price per square foot is assess the value.
Assessed. Right. On January 1st, what comes down? The property taxes. So let me ask you a question. If this said 7 bedrooms, 3 baths, 2165 square feet, who's not going to like that? Probably the potential buyer, because the bedrooms are probably really small. The listing data says that. There's the blinking light. If the listing data is fine, leave it alone. How do you verify that the stuff is correct?
You have to take measurements.
Go to the home and verify. If it was different, you have the ability in the right column to change it right here if you so desire for your report. If everything is the same, leave it alone. If it ain't broke, don't fix it, okay? So then it's going to tell us to do what? Confirm facts and close. So we want to do that. Yes, ma'am.
So right now, if we what if from the public record or the listing?
It's going to pull from public.
Public.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Sorry, what was your question?
Question was, if we don't change anything and the report is done, where are they going to pull the data from? The data gets pulled from the public record.
Ronnie, how do you reconcile that the public record said two full, 1/2 bath, and the MLS said 3 full? Those weren't the same.
Then you would on the right side change them. See here where it says your changes? 3,
Yeah.
2, 1. So that's what I did last month, because this is still holding from last month. So I changed it to be exactly what it should be.
So question, because it has 1 full and 1 bath, then the 1/2 in is a full one. So public record, I'm sure it would show, 1 full 1/2.
If he had the permits for it, then they should upgrade, or he calls property appraiser and upgrades and let them know. So the question was, the bathroom was converted in the home. How do you know that public records has it up there? First of all, it was legally permitted. That's what your dad did. And then legally he called and had the appraiser. Okay. So that's how you make sure. Who knows what happens? Let me go this route. Who has ever challenged a property appraiser for their taxes? I did. Right? When the values were in the toilet, I said it shouldn't appraise for this much and had them reduce it to reduce my taxes. You can do the same thing. Don't do it now because you're going to open up the can of worms, right? Because you're probably pretty low right now and leave it alone. They'll catch up eventually. Or if you're a homesteader, that's what Save Our Homes helps us to keep it down, okay? All right, these are all great questions. Any other questions before I move on? Yes, ma'am.
Just for sure. Tell us when it's away from my dad's house. Public record shows 1 full 1/2 bathroom, but I know, he has 2 full bathrooms. Should I update that into
The report? Yes, if you're going to present it to a potential buyer that you're representing, yeah, that's all, okay? Is it going to mean that much? Because he already visually saw that it was there, okay? All right, so next step, as it says here, is to do what? Let's find some comps. I mean, guys, to be honest with you, this is too easy. So we're going to go find some comps. Now we're going to come to the magic screen that does this for us. Finds all the comparables that we need. So I want you guys to pay attention. I said to keep in mind, be careful. The living square footage is what? 2165. And the bed's 4 bedroom, 3 bath. And it was built in 1985. Okay? All right, as we go down, for those of you that love to use maps, you can use the maps. There's nothing wrong with it. The only caution I will give you is this. You see, you can draw a shape, you can draw a box, a radius, a polygon. If you decide to do that, make sure you include the whole subdivision and maybe a little more, because comparatibles are based on what? On the same street, on the same block, on the same subdivision, and going out from there, okay? I prefer not to use that because it gives me a better variety. So I don't use the map. What I do is I leave the default alone. I'm looking for active for sale. I'm looking for pending. I'm looking for closed. I'm only looking for single family because this is single family. Okay. I used to tweak and only do, because I was taught old school, within the last 3 months. But the last 3 months is no longer the default. The default is probably the last 6 months. I'm not saying that we're going to pick from 6 months ago, but I may pick 3.5 months, 4 months, depending on what needs to be done. Okay? So here's the. Go ahead.
Ronnie, sorry to interrupt. It's going to be, I know it looks like recorded, but do we get the record?
It'll be on it'll be on my YouTube channel.
Oh, okay. Okay. Thank you very much.
Oh, no worries. No worries.
Ronnie,
Yes.
do you include those that are on the market but listed as contingent? Like I saw pending. If you go up a little bit,
Yes.
do you usually include those two? Active?
Absolutely.
Okay.
In fact, you'll learn from me, pendings are the most powerful ones. Why? Let me
They
see.
show the current market. So will we click that other box, correct?
Which other box? You mean
Active
pending?
under contract. The one,
Well, active under contract for us here is pending.
okay.
Yeah, for us here in Florida, pending is what we are. We used to have active with contract. That was the old thing. So I guess it's there because some of you in other states still use active under contract. I'm going to put that there anyway. Thank you. Let's see if something pops up. I don't really think so because ours are pending. We go pending, and that's what we mean, active under contract. Pending means active under contract. But a good question. See, you learn something from every class. All right, so with that in mind, as I said, I leave it at 6 months. I'm going to click the search. Okay, so when I click the search, you're going to see something. It starts to pull all of these, the teardrop right here, the black teardrop, that's the subject property. The blue square boxes are the closed, the circles are for sale, and for sale pending. I don't see any active with contract, and I don't see closed, withdrawn, expired, canceled. Those are the light shaded. Okay. So it also, as I scroll down, it tells me I have 35 possible sold properties found to use as comps. So because how can I put this? Oh, okay. For those of you that know the DISC profile, I'm a high I. Yeah, if you didn't know that, I don't shut up, right? And an S, the helper. This is where my high D comes out. I don't have time to waste going through all of these comparables. So the high D in me said, oh, use the computer skill of go right here where it says square footage.
Wow.
Square footage. I click on it once. And now it puts it in the high to low. What I do then? 2165 is my property. I just go right down to 2165 or thereabout. And look at the comps that I may or may not want to use. Okay? That will save us a ton of time. Can you go through all of them? Absolutely. If you guys want to, sure. I have no problem with that. But for the essence of time of this class, because I like to get a lot of questions answered or asked, I'm going to use the comps and that I already picked out, and then we'll talk about why I was using them. So the first one is 5339 Albelia Drive. It is 0.3 of a mile. I love distance too. The closer the distance, the closer I got a better chance that that's a great comp. Okay. So it's probably right down the block. It was on the market for 53 days. Pay attention to that, guys. Pay attention. What do we talk about every day on a call? Days on market, days on market. It's creeping up. It's creeping up. It was sold on July 1st. What was that? 6 days ago. Excuse me, 10 days ago. So the 11th. 10 days ago. It sold for $560,000. It is a slightly bigger than our subject property. It's a 3-2 built in 1982. Our property is a 4-3 built in 85. So guess what? It's still a great comp to use. So what you do is you would start to check off the one that you want to use. As you do that, you will notice over here on the right side, it tells you comps being used, and it starts to build a comp summary for you. So this way, you can see what's going on, what exactly is going up here, okay? So let's get back to that. So I used that one. The next one that I used was 5760 Tamarack. 5760 Tamarack. That was 0.26. It's even closer to the subject property. 21 days on the market, sold 630. Almost 2 weeks ago, 566, 2242, 32, and it was built in 84. Now, I know you can read, you see the blue star. The blue star says used in RVM. That's what RPR used when it combined its realtor valuation model. Sometimes you're going to use them, sometimes you're not. In this case, I'm going to use them. Okay? In this case, I'm going to use them. Can you see? I'm sorry. All right, and finally, the last one that was sold is 6016 Pitch Pine. That was 0.47, 37 days on the market. It was back in May, sold for 615, a little bigger than ours, 4-3, 1986. Okay. All right, so for all my high Cs in the room that are saying, wait a minute, you can't go 1 foot above or below because it's not accurate, okay? Is anybody on the call ever did what's called a BPO? So everybody
Yes.
here, oh, I have something from the olden days. Remember when we used to try and stay alive by doing a
I've done them.
broker opinion? Okay, well, I still have my book with over 300 companies. I still get requests today to do BPOs. We also had the gauge sheet. In other words, back then, $50 per square foot is what you added or subtracted based on what it is. It's minute. It's minute when I tell you. Now, don't get me wrong. If the subject property and the property you're using is 500 square feet off, that's big. But 200-300, I'm not even going to think twice about it. Okay? And you shouldn't either. Remember, we're not appraisers. Remember, this is not an appraisal. And we're still going to come as darn close as we are to what an appraiser is going to come up with. Okay? So just trust the machine that we're using here. Trust the software that you're paying for. All right, so now we've got our 3 solds. Okay? Can we do more than 3? Absolutely. Just be careful, because when you do more than 3, you might open up a door. Happened to me one time with a buyer. They opened the door and they wanted to go with the 4th one, which was the lowest. So I should have never left today.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
Why would 5504 not be a good comp?
I have a business owner here. The question is, which one did you say? Oh, okay. That's the definite.
Yeah.
So the question is, why didn't I use 5504? Yes, it's in the neighborhood. Exactly. Correct. But it sold when? Back in March. Same reason I didn't use the one that's right next door. 7701 White Ash that sold back in February.
76 26, which is a little bit less, I mean, a little bit smaller, but it was sold like
Right.
too far.
No, not necessarily.
So
Only
it was
because it was
54.
51, the other one was 47, so it was closer. Could I have used it? Absolutely. Don't overthink this, guys. Here's the thing. You have to decide who's in front of you. Are you doing this for a potential seller, which is mostly what we would like to do this for, or are you doing this for a buyer to prove to the buyer that they can't lowball? That's mainly when I was using this back in the day. I was a buyer's agent. So I used it to prove to them. And what would I do as a buyer? I would try to take the highest comps to make it be more than the list price and say, oh, look, you're already getting a deal. So I didn't get lowball offers. On the flip side, you try to make it as close or less than, so the seller doesn't say, no, I want to do 100,000 more. You can't. And that's what we've learned by doing these. That's what I mean by, I used to have 5 ways to justify. Now I'm up to 12. Because here's the thing, the buyers, sellers, and investors are already using most of the tools I'm going to show you today. So we should be using these same tools to make the educated guess. What you want them to do when they're in front of you, oh yeah, I did see that on so-and-so. Oh yeah, that's what that said on there. Instead of just what? We all know they're looking one place and one place only to start out. The Z, okay? And in one of them, 2 of them mentions the Z, but I don't count it. But I still do it in case they want to bring it up, right? I'm not afraid of that. And this is what the consensus. Remember, we don't make the market, we just interpret it. And we interpret it to be this based on what we're presenting to you. I.e., when you present this to a buyer, seller, investor, you want to do the patented Keller Williams, let them self-discover. Can you tell me with what I presented here to you, what do you believe to be the recommended price? You should already have it there and just point to what you say. That's it. Okay? All right, so those were the 3 pendings. Let's go down to the 3 active. So the active, they're in numerical order already, since we did that up top. That's why it's so easy to use this tool. Go right down to 21, let me see, 2155. So let me see what I used. I did use 5505 spring, even though I prefer pendings. Anyway, we used this.
Hey, Ronnie, can I ask you a question?
Absolutely.
Sorry, from Boston. I don't know if you guys would do this, but on the pendings, would you call the listing agent on the pendings and see if you
Now,
can get an
Paul-
idea? It looks like 2 are pending at 5.
Now Paul
19 and
knows
5.
why I use the pending. Why do you call, Paul?
Well, I want to see if it was over or under.
Paul, you're absolutely right. Don't be afraid, my friend. If I could get realtors to understand, you can ask any question. It's unethical if they answer you with something they shouldn't. So let me just pull the 3 and then we're going to talk about that, because that's exactly why I prefer pendings. All right, so spring was an active one, and that's okay. I can still call them also, and it's right next door. It's right on the same block, actually, right? 0.16, listed at 515, 627 2 weeks ago, 3/2/1983. 5436 split. Where'd she go? 5436 and 7302 Lake. Okay, so here's 7302 Lake. 2/10 of a mile, 47 days, 525 listed, 559.9. And then the last one, 7302. No, I already picked that one. That's it. 5436 split. 5436 split. There we are. Right up here. Pending, 0.4 of a mile, 41 days. And just like Paul said, you can call the listing agent. So this is my script. You can take it for what you want. You can do it any way you want. Hi, it's Ronnie Keller Williams class. Really, thank you so much for taking my call. You can't say, if you say it like you're trying to show it, they're going to tell you, I'm not telling you, because they think you got a buyer and you're trying to fish for the price. What you can do is say this: I am working with a seller currently in the area and we're trying to price it right. Let me ask you, did you get full list price or above? Well, I'm not telling you the price. I don't want to know the number. I just want to know, did you get full price or above? And then if they do say, well, we got above, was it a multiple offer situation? Just come from curiosity, because the pendings are the ones that can give you a better idea where the market is floating. Because now, and look, could they be lying to you? Possibly. But it's another leverage tool to help you make an educated guess of, okay, they listed at 675 new. I'm definitely not using that, right? Because why? I think it's overpriced, totally overpriced, based on everything else I'm looking at. Now, if this was pending, this one here, 5740, I'm going to say, did you get full price? Wow. How many offers? 10. Okay, now I got to rethink it, because maybe the market is there. But basically 19 days on the market, what are we knowing? What are we saying? It's getting to be, this is the easiest analogy to use, guys. Every one of us does it. We go to the store. We're going to buy hamburger rolls. We always check the date. Why? Because if
Want
it's
it to be fresh.
it's what? Fresh, exactly.
Stale.
It's stale. So a listing that's 19 days on the market is what?
Getting stale.
Getting stale. A listing that's 47 days on the market is stale. And Mr. and Mrs. Seller, we don't want it to wind up like stale bread. Because at 47 days, what do you think they do with it? They make it into breadcrumbs. And they give it away. Okay? When you use that analogy, I promise you, it sticks into them. Okay? That's what we practice on the script call every day. All right, so did I pick my 3? Yes, I did pick my 3. Okay, so now that I picked my 3, very simply, let's go up to the top here, and we see that it says the 3 sold and the 3 for sale or pending properties, okay? And then, guess what? The next thing tells us what to do. What does it tell us to do? It says, update valuation and close. Bam. I update the valuation and close. Now what happens? RPR magically does the work for us. RPR magically does the work for us. RPR has told us that 548, 828, rounded up, 549 is probably the result, or this is the result of the comp analysis. Okay? So now on your handout, it tells you to go up to the top left where it says summary. I apologize. They just upgraded the system and they changed it to property information. So we're going to click on property information. We get back to the property information. We scroll down below the pretty picture. The list price is $569. The RVM, which is updated every 2 to 4 weeks. This was updated when? 6/21. 6/21 said 551. We just did it today, 7/11 for 548. Would you be wrong with recommending 551 to your buyer if you're working with a buyer? Absolutely not. If you're working with a seller, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, could we list it at 569? Absolutely. Remember, a good listing agent will always build in negotiation. You should. Because if you have the seller believing that 569 is the price they're going to get, you have to remember one thing. 9% of that is closing cost. They're not going to walk away with 569. They're going to walk away with 520. So you have to increase to build it in. not overpricing it. I'm not saying overpricing, because the good buyer's agent, after pulling the comps, is probably going to recommend, if I was the buyer's agent and was listed at 569, yes, I know, you're going to tell me, oh, well, you know, they're getting full price. How many days has this been on the market? Well, the pending date was 6/17. I think it was listed in May. So it was 31 days. And it was one price adjustment. So to me, 548, I would have said, let's start at 540. Why? They can always counter. Okay, we'll take 555. Tell your buyer, sign on the dotted line, you just saved them 14,000. Or realistically, he just paid price. What's still going to protect your buyer? Well, unless it's a cash buyer, and even a cash buyer can do an appraisal. But if it's a loan, the appraisal is going to protect them. So there's no right or wrong. So now, how do we get this in the hands of the potential buyer, seller, or investor? So the next thing says, create a report. We're going to right here where it says create a report. When we click on create a report, it comes to this beautiful page provided to us by RPR that gives us a whole bunch of reports, a whole bunch of reports.
It's showing bad gateway.
Yeah, I know, and I'm trying to get it to redo, but for some reason it's getting hung up. All right, come on, RPR. There we go. Okay, so we get to the reports page. All right, so you'll see a bunch of reports. So it says select report. The default is property. That doesn't mean you have to use it. I want you guys to pay close attention. The property report is approximately 28 pages. The seller's report is approximately 81 pages. Property flyer is 1 page. That's great for what? Open house flyer if you want to use it. The mini property report is 12 pages if you decide to use it. The valuation workbook, if you want to go in detail, that's 74 pages. Market activity is 26 pages. Neighborhood is 10 pages. School is 10 pages. You have someone wanting to know about the area. It's a great tool to use. Now, these are all great tools. Somebody already did a report, okay, because I heard a doorbell. And you can use these. Those of you that are in Ignite or were in Ignite, you might remember the first script we ever learned. It's new to real estate, okay? The third paragraph says, and I quote, I have a wealth of timely and pertinent information. Do I have your correct email address and your physical address? They're talking about using either this reports here, which you could do even if it wasn't a CMA. You could send them a property report, a neighborhood report, because when you put in the address, this is going to default to the area of the address. So this is a great one to send to them just because, to nurture, to keep them in top of mind with you. Oh, and the physical address, do not mail it to them, it costs you a bundle. The physical address is so you can write them a handwritten thank you note, thanking them for taking your call. Oh, do you remember the 10-4? That's what that was. Okay, so I have figured out that the property report works the best for the purposes that I like. So if you go to where it says the plus sign and you open it up, you can decide to put the elements in or leave the elements out. So one of the elements that you definitely don't need to have is the property photos. They know what the house looks like, correct? Now, if the one main photo goes on the report, the first page is going to have a main photo. If that photo was from 30 years ago, you go to the house, take a quick one, upload it, and replace it in here. You can do that. But if you take off the property photos, that saves you 2 pages. Historic photos, if somebody took 100 photos, get rid of that. You don't need it. The refined value, you don't need that. Because the refined value talks about the RVM. We're not using that. We're using our comp analysis here. You leave the comp analysis, and if you click on the eyes next to it, it kind of tells you or shows you what exactly each page is, okay? Next thing, assessed values is good, mortgage records, property, that's fine. If you don't want to include it, don't include it, doesn't matter to me. From sales activity all the way down to the end, unless they want specific school summary and stuff, eliminate it. Don't worry about it. Definitely keep the about RPR and our data. That's the last page, explains it in nerd jargon. So they're like, oh, that's what this is all about. Okay. Now, the assessed value. It tells you the estimated value change, what went on. You can and can leave it if you want. Your comp analysis, you can or not leave it. I know some realtors that are just using the summary page and sending that as the T's. And what they're doing is cutting out the page where it says about it. So how do you eliminate that? Let me see, it used to be on the bottom here. You can suppress the estimated value. You can suppress the estimated value for the comps. You can suppress the refined value. And it choose whether you want it or not. In my case, I'm using it so you can see exactly what it looks like. And then again, you can also take it off from here if you so desire. Uncheck it or uncheck the comp analysis and just leave it with the current estimated value. Okay? And then say, this is the current estimated. If you want a detailed analysis, that's your comp analysis, contact me. That's to get your foot in the door to do a listing presentation, okay? That's what this is all geared to. Questions? Okay, what's the next thing we do? Well, first thing, we do not put it here and send it to them in the email. Always proofread it. So you're going to display it now in a PDF before you attach it and then send it to them. So I'm going to click on Run Report. It's going to do its magic. It's going to take about 2 minutes. It's a little lengthy nowadays, but it'll be 2 minutes. If you have your volume on, you'll hear a doorbell. When the pop-up message goes away, you can still play with it if you want. It's going to show you up top reports. I already ran this report this morning, so I already have it. Okay, you see it's 2 property reports. Okay, so it's going to tell you that there's 2 property reports that are coming here. This one that I did 10:03 this morning. So there's the report, it's already there. All right, so let me bring that one. Let's do this first. Let's see. There it is. Report has been downloaded successfully. All right. So once that's done, then I can download it and just see if I can find it. Where'd you go? Let's try again. This is the one. Okay. I open the report. I may have to reshare the screen. Hold on. Let me just reshare the screen. Okay. This report, tweaking it the way I did, is 10 total pages. If you do it back to back, that's what, 5 pages. That's it. So the first page shows nicey nice. Here in my market center, mission 4, we show you how to brand RPR. So this way it pulls your beautiful picture and all of your information. So it's geared towards you. The second page shows the subject property and now talks about everything. So if I left everything alone, this one shows the list price, the estimated value, and our comp analysis. Okay? Like I said, a lot of realtors are just taking this page, page 2, and of course, if it's not listed right now, obviously they're looking for a seller. There'd be no list price here. They'd leave just the current estimated value, and that's what they would send to the potential sellers to get business. Hey, here's what it's currently estimated with your home. Contact me for a detailed analysis. Okay? All right. Home facts are just what it is. Just read the home facts. Extended home facts. I've left that in here. This is brand new, guys. This has been here for about a month and a half. RPR livability index. This is great to leave in there because people like to see for themselves what's going on with the neighborhood. Is this a crime report? No. All it is telling them what the housing, what the neighborhood life, work, and play, safe and convenient options as far as transportation, environment, health, engagement, opportunity. This way you can't get into trouble, okay? It says it's a 51 out of 100 score, which means it's average for the United States. So most people, when they're shopping, they may want to know that, all right?
Okay, can you repeat that? Because you walked away.
Oh, sorry. So it's a 51. A score over 50 is above average. So they want to know what's going on in the neighborhood they're looking at, okay?
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. All right, next thing, the comparative analysis. It's right there, just what we did. We did 548, 549, round it off if you want. Okay, tells them exactly what the comps and adjustments were. So it shows them first the active and pendings. All right, so subject property is there, active, pending, pending. The solds, the 3 solds that we picked. And then next to that is the property history. So those of us that have been here for a long time know that when the market tanked in 11, well, actually, it tanked way before that. It's probably around 2008, 2009. This property was not worth $100,000. That's very scary when you think about what is it worth today, okay? 600,000. And you see how Florida did, Orange County, this zip code, and this house. So this house bottomed out probably at about 175. It's probably where it bottomed out, okay? You'll see the sales history throughout the years. Back in 1996, it sold for $84,700. How many of you want to buy this house? What does James Shaw teach us? First, you ask yourself, do I want to buy the house when you approach a seller, right? Oh my God, is God is saying, right? This would have been an opportune time to buy this home. All right. Anyway, tells the property report, what's going on, who's the borrower or actually the owner. And then the last page about RPR, it explains in detail what our data is all about. Now, you would think with having this on here, everything should be okay. And that's when I put it in my mind, and I was shocked because I didn't think of this sooner. And I always wondered why I lost listings, and now I know why. Because when I presented this to the potential seller, in their mind, they didn't ask me the question. But in their mind, they said, well, Ron, that's just one opinion. I didn't think it through. Just because we know RPR pulls all of the data, gives us all the data out there that we know, it's just one opinion. how can we back this up? So it's more than one opinion, and that's when I came with how to justify RPR. So here's what it is, guys. There's about another 11 of them that we can use to justify. Do we use all of them? No. Depending on what you're trying to do, you will decide whether or not you're going to use all or none. All or none. Okay, so before I move on, is there any questions before I move on with this?
One question.
Yes, ma'am.
With the current estimated value.
Current estimated value
There,
on page 2.
right, so it's like utility there, like, like it's saying that 551, where you know what I mean? Like-
No, I know exactly what you're saying, and no, you're asking great questions. So the question is, why should I leave that? Because it's saying 551, and we're saying it's only worth 548. Okay. This was done 6/21. That was almost 3 weeks ago. The market has done what in 3 weeks?
Yeah.
The interest rate went like this, which means the property went like this.
So if that's an objection, I can use that to my advantage by telling them, well, if you keep waiting, you know, it's gonna continue.
Absolutely. Now, you have the ability not to put that too if you don't want to, okay? That's what I love about this software and about the tool. It can be used multiple ways, okay? Great question. All right, so let's go on now, and believe it or not,
Question.
yes,
A
ma'am.
couple of sentences ago, you said use all or none of what? All of
Use
what?
all or none of the other tools that I'm going to give to you. Okay?
Okay.
What do I mean by that? So RPR is just one tool. That is at, I don't know if we can see my screen up here. I'll see if I can do it with the whiteboard, maybe. So RPR is just one at 548, correct? So RPR is at 548. 1 second. Maybe we can get this. I learned this from my team leader, Cynthia. Let me make sure I got it in line. There we go. Okay. This might get a little tight, guys, but hang on. The ride's about to begin. You know, we're right outside Disney World, so if you got a fast pass, we're good. All right, so we said RPR gave us 548, about 549, right? Okay, 549. All right, so where's the next one we're going to go to? Okay, I'm so glad you asked. So where we're going to go to is back to our multiple listing service. And if you don't have it built in, don't worry about it. So for us, we have it built in. It's called Realtor.com Property Report, Pro Search Property, Pro Search Property. And if it's up there, I'm just going to click on it. If you don't have it, copy and paste the address into Realtor.com. Okay, so it brings up Realtor.com for me. Look at this, guys. Look what Realtor.com did. Just like this estimate. They gave us an estimate. 588. 588. Guess who else is seeing this? Buyers, sellers, and investors. Buyers, sellers, and investors. And with Realtor.com, If it's not here, and it's not, click on View Property on Realtor.com. When you click on View Property on Realtor.com, it's now going to open up and it's going to give you what we call a home value tab. A home value tab. When you click on the drop down for the home value tab, it is, and it's nearby, excuse me. It's going to give you Realtor.com and then click on View on Realtor.com. Did you see it? Underneath the estimate. Should be in red. There you go. So now the home value. This is very, very important. I'll tell you why. There was an article that I posted in Pivot Shift about Inman News saying your CMA may not be worth what you think it is. They were talking about how CMAs are going to have to be tweaked and tweaked and tweaked. They also said throughout the article, it mentioned a couple of the things that I've been using already. One of them was Realtor.com. They said, and I quote, Quantarium is the new artificial intelligence that they believe is most accurate when it comes to predicting with this crazy market. So now, think it through. 584, 588, 570. You have all or none to choose. What did I do? I know it said 588, and 588 was where they pulled from CoreLogic. CoreLogic is who built my MLS. So they're pulling from there. So reality is that's pretty good. And I still want to use the other two. So if you add them up and average them with Realtor.com, you're looking at 581. It's not that far off, I get it. And I'm building for the seller and or buyer the tools to offset why I'm recommending the price that I want to recommend to them. Okay? So let me see. I'm gonna move this over. Okay, so you're able to see Realtor, right? Okay. All right, so that's the second one. The next one on the last page of your, second to last page of your handout, it should be, I think. Second to last page, I give you some of the ways that we can use other tools. So, Bank of America. Nasty Bank of America. We need them, but they're not our friends. And we're going to use them to our advantage. So how are we going to use them to our advantage, you say? Well, we're going to use them to our advantage this way. We are going to go right to Bank of America. It's called What's My Home Worth? Because once again, do you not believe that the buyers, sellers, and investors are already using this tool? I promise you they are. And where it says home value, you click on that box, type or copy and paste. Oops, that's not the address. Where'd my address go? Oh, I had it here somewhere. There we go. You're going to enter that address in there. When it comes behind, underneath it, that means they found it. Click on that. Well. Bank of America says the estimated home value is 567,774 or 568, rounded off. Don't overthink this. What's the list price? 569. Now, I want you guys to write down the easy conversation, the easy script. The easy script goes like this. according to Bank of America, according to Realtor.com, according to Quantarium, according to any of the other 9 that I'm going to show you. Not according to Ronnie, not according to Claudia, not according to Daphne, not according to Carol, according to whatever you're putting in front of them. And if you need to expand, like with the bank, I might go this way. Well, Mr. and Mrs. Buyer, according to Bank of America, this is what the house is worth. And if you went in there to get a loan, this is probably what the appraisal. No, you can't put in a low ball offer of 500,000 because you believe the market's turning. Mr. or Mrs. Seller, you can't list it for 675. According to Bank of America, the home is only worth this much. Go as far as this. Mr. and Mrs. Seller, this is what the buyers are looking at. Not Ronnie, the buyers. I'm just using the tool to show you what they're looking at. Okay, so that's 568 rounded off. So that's Bank of America, 568. Okay? But wait, there's more. So let's go to the next one. The next one is that other bank called Chase Bank. Called Chase Bank. Chase has the same exact thing. It's called the Home Value Estimator. The Home Value Estimator. Okay. We'll put the address in. We click search. Let it do its little magic. And Chase says that it's worth $487,500. Why? That's a very good question. Why? So with Chase, you're able to see where they started pulling the comps from. Okay? And what you'll see is all of these comps are over 8 months old. The ones that they're using. Okay? So guess what? Say that loud and proud, please. Don't use Chase. Did anybody say you have to use it? No. But if Chase said 567, I'm using it. They said 540, I'm using it. Now you understand. You still got enough leverage. And trust me, I said there's 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We use 7. Okay? Look, if that doesn't make headway to the buyers, sellers, and investors, you probably don't want to work with them because they're being totally unreasonable. You're showing them what the market's telling. But that's another tool you can use, Chase. So if it's what you want, you use it. If not, we move on, which is what we're going to do. We're going to move on to the next one. So the next one is, I have the right one, Penny Mac. Penny Mac. And what does it say there? What's my house worth? The reason I went with most of these that I've used is because you do not have to sign up. You do not have to register, which is what you want, so you can keep using this over and over again without a problem. Because I used to use Keller Offers. Keller Offers stopped giving it away for free. You now have to put in your name, address, and phone number because they're collecting data. So I don't use them anymore, unfortunately. Okay? So we had to find something else. So I found Penny Mac. Same principle. Go in there, put in the address. You see the address there. Make sure you click on I'm not a robot. Okay? Click on the address. Get home value estimate. When you click to get the home value estimate, this one actually tells you since it last sold how much it appreciated. That's good if you're working with a seller and they say, I want you to reduce my commission because it's going to be a quick sale. So wait a minute. You want me to reduce my commission, but you're going to make 3/4 more than what you paid for it. Let's be reasonable. Let's put me to work and let's do it, show you the value. Okay? So now it says the home value since last sold. You scroll down and it says estimated home value, 567. 567, that's Penny Mac. And what else did they show you right underneath?
This estimate.
Nasty's estimate, which I'm not going to use, but leave it there. Leave it there. Who cares? So here's what you're doing, guys, if you didn't think it through. You can screenshot, print screen this page, take it with you to your appointment. Bring it out if they're that, well, this is just one opinion. Or if you want to make your presentation, this is what's going on in the, oh my God, I just thought of something. This is what's going on in the market. And then put it out in a carousel in front of them. The high C's are going to love it because they want the information. The D is going to be like, come on, let's just list it and let's go. Works. The I's, what's it?
You just had that idea.
Yeah, I just had that idea. Do a carousel, nice, like that, right? Whew. See, you learn something every time. Okay, so that's Penny Mac. So we got Penny Mac down there. Let's go to the next one. The next one is called Movoto. Movoto. Now, Movoto is cute. They want us to verify that we are a human. So you have to click, you have to press and hold. That's a new kind of CAPTCHA that verifies that you are a human being. Once you do that, you get the check mark, then they bring you to the page. Now, when they bring you to the page, Movoto is owned by Ojo. Does anybody know what Ojo is? I'll give you a little history. So one of the executives on the executive board of Ojo that owns Movoto is the former president of Keller Williams. His name is Chris Heller. Those of us that have been with Keller Williams a long time. So Chris Heller runs this. Anyway, Price My Home. Price My Home. You click on that tab, insert the address, click the magnifying glass, let it do its magic. Now, this one, it picked this 4-bedroom, 3-bath, and then it picked this 4-bedroom, 3-bath at $319. I think that's an old listing, to be honest with you. Ours is the first one, $569. I click on it, and it now tells us it's worth how much? $593. Now, am I going to use it? Yes. Do I have to use it? No. I could have knocked it out if I wanted to, but I'm still going to use it. Okay? All right. Tells you about comparative homes if you're live there, so you can see some that are there. You don't have to. All we want is the estimate. That's the only thing we want from there. Okay. And then let's go to the next one. The next one, you may or may not use this particular one. It's called Rocket Homes by Rocket Mortgage. Rocket Homes by Rocket Mortgage. Okay? So Rocket Homes by Rocket Mortgage, just the very same thing. Put in the address, pops up, click on the magnifying glass. Estimated home value, and they even tell you the estimated time to sell, 11 days. Now, is that true? It's been on the market 28 days. Now, does that mean they're wrong? No, maybe they didn't update. And or this is, like I said, they didn't update this yet. But 569 is all we're looking for, which happens to be what? The list price. So we're definitely going to use that. So that justifies them. And then the last one that we're going to use for people with my MLS or similar, if you go back into the MLS, and specifically you're looking for the home page for us. Some of you may have this separate. We have it built in. It's called Remine. And Remine, what's good about Remine is you just put in in the search bar there, you click on search. Type or paste in the address. Let it find it. We click on it. When we click on it, Remind does the magic that it does. And very simply, webinar, how to find buyer and listing leads. Ooh, free leads. Tuesday the 26th, 1:30 p.m. Okay. We scroll down, we're looking to where it says valuation. We're going to click on the valuation. The valuation is then going to tell us what the average is of First American at 558, Remine itself at 434, and then the Nasty's estimate at 575. And for those of you looking for rentals, it'll even give you the rental. Now, pay attention, please, to the dates. First American on 6/22 said it was 558. Remine 6 days ago said it was 434. How true is that? Based on everything we just pulled, it's not that true. Don't forget they have a spread range of 357 to 497. So I would say this is more on the high side. So what I did was I could have used just First American, or I said, you know what? Let's just use the average, which is 523 from that box. So with Remine, I took the average. 523. Okay? Any questions? No questions. I know that's a lot to absorb. Go ahead.
I'm sorry, you said it was how many? Because I might have missed one. I'm trying to write them all down.
So I wound up using 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then there's let me see, 7, and then there's 2 extra ones in Realtor.com, and over here there's another 2, that's 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and we didn't use Chase as 12.
Okay. So I missed one because I have 9. All right.
So now that we have taken the ones that we want to use, you see how I got them on a board. What do you think we do? The only thing we do
Add 'em
is
up.
add them up and divide, and guess what?
7. Right.
564,000 is the average. So with RPR in front of them saying at 551, well, we're at 548, and the average of everything in the town, 564. Okay?
Sorry. I don't see what you divided by. When
Add
you add
up
up
the 7 numbers.
7.
Oh, the total numbers. Okay.
Add up the 7 numbers here: 549,000, 581, 568, 567.
And you divide it?
Divide it by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And you'll come up with
Oh, okay, got it.
564 would be the
Got it.
recommended, what the market is telling us. they're probably gonna turn around and say to you, if it's a buyer, oh no, we want to go with your 548. There you go. There you go. Who cares? Okay. With the seller, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, you don't want to be the highest at 593. Remember, you're in competition with every other house. You don't want to be the highest. So right now, 564, which is kind of what they listed it at, 569. I think they took the Zestimate. I think the Zestimate was originally 569 because the Zestimate was what, 575. Okay. Who has questions?
I have a question.
Yes. Carl.
There's a FISBO I'm trying to work on now. His property is 64% bigger than all the properties in the area, and it's very difficult to get any comps. He was in the market and pulled out like in 10 days because he got a lot of like realtors calling him, whatever. He had it at 1.5 million. The average in that, and I know the town, that average there is about like 8, 9 tops. So in general, I just want the data, like you said. How do you, if there's no, the house is huge, what would you recommend to, to try to get the closest comp for this particular property?
So the first thing I would do is use the tools that I just showed you.
Okay.
To get a consensus of what's out there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because here's one thing, and I forgot to do it in the beginning, I apologize. The only time RPR doesn't work, or any of these things don't really work, is vacant land. Think about it.
Yeah.
They built out the whole subdivision, and there's one lot left. It is pretty much impossible for you or I to actually comp it.
Right.
To go it. That's where you find your land barons in your market center or in your area and ask them because they know. Okay, because that's all they do all day.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's
Got it.
land. I mean, just land. This has a property on it, I guess.
Yeah. It's
Okay.
yeah. And I have to ask. I don't know if it's like he probably maybe built it because the lot itself is 12,000 square feet, and the actual interior is like 3,500.
Okay.
And all the houses in the area, the square footage interior is like 2,000. There was a couple of 3s, but not that many.
Okay.
But the lot itself is like 3 times more than all the other all the other properties in the area.
Okay. What's the address?
407 2nd Street, Elmont, in Long Island.
Yes. 2nd Street. What's the zip?
Gosh, hold on.
113.
11003.
11003. Oh, it's in Elmont?
Yeah, Elmont.
There it is. I'm from Forest Hills.
Oh, okay, nice.
Yeah, I thought you were going to say Elmhurst for a minute there.
No.
Okay, come on, remind.
I also looked at like a neighboring, like Franklin Squares there, just to see what they have. I think there was a new build for 1.1 with like 5 bedrooms, but the square footage was I think it was 10,000 square feet. The one in
So you're trying to take the listing?
Yes.
And what is he looking to walk away with?
So we haven't gotten there yet. I'm nurturing.
Okay.
So that was my because we're both pretty much have different. His schedule, I mean, I could adjust to his schedule, but like he's been pretty busy. But yeah, we're gonna have this conversation soon. He originally had it at 1.5, by the way.
Okay.
So
when was that?
That was a month and a half ago.
Okay. Well, a lot happened in a month and a half. You know
Yeah.
that.
Yep. Absolutely.
So here, just really quickly, 940, right, is the average of everything. 969 First American, Remind 981. Yeah, so you're floating around $1 million right now, okay? I'm not saying that's what he's gonna go for.
Right.
But this is exactly how I would do it, Carlos. I just go right in here first. This is what I do. I go first in. I do this before I even go to RPR.
RPR.
Because it's so easy to just, go in here and actually just click and get an idea, get a feel for what I'm looking for. You know what I
see.
mean?
Yeah.
Now, I probably, and that's one thing, maybe you guys noticed or didn't notice, when you're going outside of your own MLS, RPR won't always give you the same ones that I'm looking at. Okay? We found that out through attrition. Because I used to swear, but even when I went outside the neighborhood, I could find things like here if I went into RPR. All right, so Bank of America says it's 878. That's not bad, believe it or not. Because the bank, I'm probably not going to be as easy, I would say. Let's try Rocket. So sometimes they won't find the exact. Oh, no. I'm sorry, I did it wrong. Let's get that back. How much is my house worth? There we go. $900. Okay.
Yeah.
So the market, it looks like the market is really, I wouldn't say tanking, because he's going to be like, oh, well, I could, woulda, coulda, shoulda. But you can see how things are starting to affect.
Yeah, and we've had several conversations. I talked to them about, and at that time, that's when interest rates even went up higher, just about a month ago or whatnot. And we were said, and also like, I was talking about in terms of conformity in like that a particular area, you don't see $2 million houses, $1.5 million houses, right? And so you started
For
to
those of you who know about the cash offers, when it's not listed on Realtor, guess who steps in there? I don't know why Realtor lets them get away with it. Open Door comes up and gives an offer. And look what they're offering.
I saw that when we were doing the practice. I was using this address, and I saw that. What is that? What does that mean?
That means if he clicked on there, Open Door is going to make an offer, a cash offer of $694,800.
Oh, if the owner, like you
Yeah.
can put your own house, and it does that.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's like selling a car. They just have open.
Yeah, absolutely. But if you scroll down, then you see the rest, which is what you really want to see.
Yeah.
And let me move that over to the right place there. Yeah. So collateral says 901, CoreLogic 843,
Right.
Ontario 840. So with me just doing this real quickly, I would say it's floating around $1 million.
Got it. Yeah.
Okay.
Got it. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
It's
Absolutely.
October, Ronnie.
What's that?
It's October.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. Who else has questions? Yes.
So would you do this like manually after you have CMA? Like adjust?
Okay.
Like, yeah.
So the question is, and I believe it's in your handout. Let me just make sure. Let me just make sure. Yeah. Okay, let's see. So Claudia's asking the question about making adjustments. Okay, there it is. Okay. So let me just share this so everybody sees exactly what we're talking about. I want to keep anybody out of the loop. So in the packet that I gave you, this is a local appraiser. Her name is Kelly Kellogg. If you go to her website, she has a book called The ABCs of Appraisals. She also gave out, this was running 2 years in a row. I couldn't get the 2022 version. I don't know if she's not doing it or not. This is a great tool if you want to offset what you're seeing as far as the difference in your comparatives. So Kelly is saying with a, let's say we had a comparable and ours had a screened and closed pool. Okay, that's the third one down. In the price point of 500,000, the one that didn't have a pool, ours did, you would add to the estimated value of that comparable if you wanted to use it, anywhere between 15 and 50. There's no right or wrong answer.
How do you buy it?
Okay, she asked the question, how do I add it? Very good, very good. So the way you would add it is, and this is where I don't teach, because remember, I only want to get to the estimated real quick and real easy. So if I go back in here to RPR, give it a chance, it's just loading. I took it away, hold on. Okay. See where it says edit comps? When you come back in here, you can make adjustments. See where it says adjust? So you can adjust them. Meaning that you could add to the one comp that doesn't have the pool, add what you feel is the value if you were add on a pool. Now, don't forget, if you're adding a pool today, it's going to be the higher. Those brand new pools, right? Hold on.
Hey, Ronnie, Jenny
Yes.
Finley here. Keep in mind too, when you're making adjustments, to look at the area in which you're in. So for example, Idaho, we don't get more than 3 months of a use out of a pool. So the appraiser's not going to even adjust for that in our area.
And now you know why I don't do this.
Yep.
Because I'm only trying to get to the finish line.
Yep.
Okay?
I'm only asking for the one possible reason that I have, which I can make the proper adjustment.
Mm-hmm. So the way, so in here, you'll see they use a slider. So if you move the slider, it increases the property by, so this one said 4,000 minus 4348. So if you wanted to increase the property, okay, so you can use the slider. But you're absolutely right. Thank you. That's why I don't like to get involved with that. Because like you said, you only use it 3 times out of the year. Yeah. Unless it's really, 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 really that bad. And, that's the other thing. How many would know what else you could do to help Carlos out with his predicament? What would you do? That home was 1.5, now it's floating at 1. What would you do?
I would use our overall market stats for that specific area.
Okay, what else? Where's my business owners? What's the commission on $1 million? Excuse me, let me do it the right way. What's the chickens? I'll say 2 chickens. If you offered to pay for a $350 appraisal and then presented it to the seller that Mr. and Mrs. Seller, according to a paid appraiser, or Mr. and Mrs. Seller, I know you want to get top dollar. Let me ask you, do you want to get an appraisal done? So we have an exact thing, because, oh, by the way, we could list it for the appraised price. We could put into the multiple listing service, appraised price came in at and can be furnished upon request. Spending $250 or $350 to protect 2 chickens on $1 million home is not out of the realm. Okay? Sometimes you got to do that. Or use the script to get them to pay for it. The reality is you should be doing it at that price. That's one way you get to the finish. Okay, what other questions do we have?
What do you
Ronnie,
say to someone?
What was that,
What do you-
Daphne?
What do you say to someone when their house was on the market? They took it off the market because it was priced high, and then it was lowered by almost $100,000. And now she says, I don't want to do it anymore because I feel like I'm giving my house away.
Okay,
It was
Well,
an expired listing, so I was looking at it.
that's fine. What was her motivation in the first place?
To move to a 55 and over development with her and her mom.
So what changed about that now?
She's saying she doesn't want to give her house. She feels like she's giving it away by lowering the price even more if it goes more. Because it was listed at $749 and they changed it to $649. And that's what she said, I'm taking it off the market. I'm not doing anything else with it.
So let me ask you this. So in other words, she's planning now to stay there. She's not going to go to 55.
She said at this point, she might as well wait it out.
Wait it out to what?
Say she was real. You can hear aggravation in her voice and the
Okay.
disgust with the previous agent she was working with.
So we don't know what's going to happen to the market. We don't have a crystal ball. We see the interest rates are climbing. When the interest rates climb, what do you think is going to happen to the prices of the homes?
Decrease, of course.
Well, so I mean, do you want to cash in on what you can now and get to the 55 and over as you planned it? It depends how much motivation she wants to get there.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
That's why we call it what? A skill-based market right now. So you need all the skills, you got to present it in front of them. And, you know, it still comes down to what we always teach, the motivation. If there's no motivation, unfortunately, one word some would say would be next.
Right. So if I went and did all of this for her and averaged it out and told her what you told us to say and send it to her, that should be beneficial, right?
Get in front of her.
Okay.
Face to face, always the best way.
Okay.
Because
Thank
then you
you.
get to read her. I understand your pain and you feel like you're giving it away. And
Right.
if you wait too long, you may have to give it away.
Got it. Okay. Thank you.
No worries. All right, any other questions? If not, I'll let you guys get cut out. Oh, wait, I got hands up. LaKayla Abrams. LaKayla, you got a question or you just got your hand up from before? Okay, we'll come back. Jenny.
So I don't necessarily have a question. I just wanted to thank you for all this information. I've been doing CMAs for a lot of years and our equity analysis, And I had never thought to look at it from these different perspectives. So thank you for that.
You're quite welcome. Thank you so much. And let me ask you a question. How long did it take you to do CMAs when you did that?
So that's when my high C pulls up. I typically about an hour. I do still struggle just a little bit because we are in a non-disclosure state. So these numbers aren't, they give me a measure, but they're not always, we could be $200,000 or $300,000 off on an $800,000 house on the online numbers.
Well, you notice most of them show the range.
Correct.
You can also go to the range if you want to.
Correct.
But of course, with your rules, if you're non-disclosure state, then definitely.
Yep.
But thank you, because that was my frustration. I didn't want to spend an hour doing a CMA.
Yes, I think this will help me get it down to at least, 30 minutes.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Nothing wrong with that. You're quite welcome. Lisa Ramsbottom, how can I help?
Hi there. Great tools. I would never dare go near these kinds of sites without someone like you advising us to use them. Honestly, thank you. I've been in the business since 2012, and I've always used RPR for valuations, and I knew that today I would get some nuggets. So I'm glad to always come back. Let's see, I was wondering about, oh shoot, somebody was talking about something and I was like, oh, now I forget. Oh, well, thanks, Ronnie.
You're welcome. Thank you. Okay, LaKayla, do you have anything or? No, she must be gone. All right, so I want to thank you guys. Give it about a day or two, depending on how I can get it from the market center to put it up. If you don't want to wait for this recording, let me see. I think somebody posted my YouTube page, which was fine.
Yes.
Let me see if I can get the direct link. There should be a couple of others in there. Let's see, where'd you go? Open houses, golden letters, CMA. Okay. If you all click on that link or save that link, it'll take you to my YouTube page. There should be a couple of other ones, and this one I'll probably get up in the next 2 days. I'll have it up on there so you guys can watch yourselves again. Okay?
Yep.
All right. Thank you so much for coming, guys. Appreciate you all. We'll see you on the pivot shift call.
Thank
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Bye.
Thanks, Ronnie. Bye-bye.